Welcome back to Masterpill Rice Pudding. It can be served warm or cold. It can be served with almost any topping. So it's a great dessert to serve your family all year round.
And personal chef Bill Collins is back to show us how to make this versatile dessert. Thanks for being back.
I'm glad to be back.
Now, Bill and I have been going back and forth a little bit because you're going to try to convince me that I indeed like rice pilaf. I've been saying for 20 some odd years now that I don't like rice pilaf.
Ooh.
Well, rice pudding
rice
is.
pudding.
I know what you meant.
Can you convince him? I think you can.
Yes, you can, because I can give you a perfect example.
Okay.
When I was a little boy, my grandmother would come and stay with us, and she'd make rice pudding. Everybody in the world loved her rice pudding except me. I thought it was repulsive being a little boy, and I didn't try it for years. And then my wife's grandmother made rice pudding, and so I tried that recipe, and it was spectacular. And so I thought I was just being nothing. You're being stubborn. I think I was just being stubborn.
It could be ignorance too, though, because I had that initial reaction, like you didn't like it, never went back to rice pudding.
And the thing is, this is the ultimate comfort food. As you said, you can have it warm or cold, but it's got everything you need. It's got milk, it's sweet from some sugar, it's got a little vanilla in there to give it a nice little oomph. It's got cinnamon, it's got everything that you would want, and it's just like the meatloaf, it's perfect all year round.
That is a jam-packed dessert. Is it easy to make?
It is so easy to make. All you do is you throw in the ingredients except the vanilla. You never want to throw the vanilla into something that's simmering because it can burn off the alcohol, burn off the flavor, and then it won't be there at all. So you always add that to the end, unless you're baking something like a cake. So all the ingredients, the rice, and I use the arborio rice, which is what we use in risotto, or a paella. And because it's a little bit shorter, it's also called short grain rice, and I just think it has a better mouthfeel to it. So you've got the rice, you've got milk, you've got sugar, just a hint of salt, cinnamon, and it takes about 35-40 minutes or so. And stir it occasionally. You don't have to give it a whole lot of attention, and it'll simmer along gently. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to look at that and say, gee, it's not quite ready yet. The way you want to tell when it's ready is, and try not to sear your mouth.
Okay, that's important.
It's very important. Take a taste of it. If the rice is cooked, you can take it off the burner. Now, the thing is, look at that and say, well, gee, that's not ready. It's so awfully soupy and milky. Believe me, the rice will continue to absorb the milk. And so you'll end up, as we'll see at the end, with a very nice custard. And if it's too thick, you can just add some more milk to it when you serve it.
So if it's runny and you're saying, oh, don't worry about it, it will continue to cook, do you take it off the stove or do you just leave it there?
You can take it off the stove. And because it's going to continue, especially as it cools down, it's going to continue to cook in effect, and the rice will continue to absorb it. Think of it like if you're cooking pasta. If you leave the pasta in too long, you end up with this mush. Well, not that this will turn to mush, but that will just continue to absorb the water. This will continue to absorb the milk.
So more or less then your indication as to when to turn the burner off is when the rice is ready, not when everything gets cooked down appropriately.
Absolutely. Well, this is going to be very hot, and I just tasted it, and it is ready. So.
Okay,
take that. Be very careful.
I hope this changes your mind.
I know.
But it doesn't. But it doesn't have the vanilla in yet, and the flavor is going to get even better.
So when do you put the vanilla in? When you've turned it off?
Yep. Once I've taken it off.
It's steaming. I'm afraid I'm going to burn myself.
So you don't have to taste it right this very minute, but also you would serve it a little bit cooler. So.
It's good, Bill.
It's nice, but
it was hot, but it is good. It's cinnamon.
You got the cinnamon in there, and I'm just going to add about a half a teaspoon or so of vanilla, and the flavor is going to become even better. So, and this is great. You see the little skim on top, no big deal. And it's just the perfect comfort food. And just like the meatloaf, all year round. It's not like it's a winter food. This is just perfect all 365.
Now, once you've cooled it down, because you serve it chilled, right?
You can serve it chilled. You can serve it room temperature. I wouldn't serve it screaming hot because then everyone will burn their mouth.
You don't want that.
That'll ruin the whole evening. But let it cool down a bit, or chilled, because also this makes a lot. And pull it out of the fridge, and it's good, for a number of days. So.
How long do you think it? Maybe like a week afterwards you put it on? Because there's milk in it.
Rule of thumb: I don't like to go with anything in the fridge more than a week. Some things, certainly less than that. But when you get over a week, funky things can happen. So, but it's so great, it won't last a week.
So I think in our refrigerator we have some finished products. Is that right?
Seth is taking the liberty of grabbing the
Why,
rice
Seth,
pudding.
we do have a rice pudding.
May I?
You may.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that glass.
Yes, you may.
That's the thing. Its presentation is everything over here.
And you
Look
can
at
put
this.
virtually any topping on top. Any berries.
Berries, strawberries, and so it's really great with everything.
What if I threw chocolate chips on top?
It's perfect with chocolate chips because also there's a recipe
great
I did not
idea.
bring that's a chocolate rice pudding.
Ooh,
And
now you're
so-
speaking my
See,
language.
there's all kinds of different ways of doing this, and rice pudding is so versatile. You can do chocolate, you can do more spice, you can do some Middle Eastern spices. I sometimes put some cardamom in there. So it's just, again, you don't want to throw a ton in, just a little subtleness. Raisins go great with this. It's just, again, the perfect and very versatile, just like the meatloaf. There's not one recipe. This is an easy one. You can go whatever flavors you want.
So the rice is kind of like a vessel. You can put whatever you want on it because that's the taste that you really get
Exactly,
out of it.
that's what gives you the body. Otherwise, you'd just be having boiled milk with cinnamon. So,
There
Well,
you
that
go.
sounds all right.
It's
It's
okay.
not ideal.
but exactly, so this really does give you all kinds of options. But yes, the rice is the body of it. Now, I spoke to somebody the other day who's in a restaurant, and she had it with a black rice, and she didn't like it because it did not have that mushiness to it. Because the black rice, it looked really cool, but it didn't have it. So I always go with the arboreal rice. You get that really nice mouth feel to it. It just tastes like a pudding, like a custard.
Okay, well, Bill, you got me. This is pretty tasty. So let's cook that down a little bit. We'll check back in with you for the rice pudding and for the meatloaf a little bit later
Yeah,
in
we
the
have
show.
to finish that up.